What's up and good morning, warning report. Oh man, said that all wrong. War Report family, it's the morning drop, man. Your man Ike Jones in here, man. We are talking a little Auburn basketball. Auburn with the big win against Missouri last night. And the question we want to ask you all is KD Johnson possibly the key to unlocking Auburn's offense? Let's talk about it right here on the drop, man. Y'all know how we do. War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
Yes, indeed. It is Wednesday morning, February 15th. Your man Ike Jones, Mike G in the place to be. War Report family. We are here. Morning drop. Talking a little more basketball, man. A little basketball season is upon us. I know some people have moved on from basketball, but we are here talking basketball this morning. We want to know, based upon what we saw last night and what we've been seeing, is KD possibly a big key, a major key for this team?
Yeah. So we talked a lot, Ike, about Wendell Green needing to score.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, he did not hit a field goal, one field goal.
Yeah.
0
0
for 4
4
from the field.
5 points, all from the free throw line.
But 9 assists, facilitated the basketball well, 0 turnovers last night.
Yeah.
And Auburn had one of their most efficient offensive games. Who saw that coming? I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's going to be interesting moving forward. If KD can maintain that level of scoring, it takes a lot of pressure off of Wendell to not have to press when he can trust his teammates to hit shots.
Mm-hmm.
But Auburn has to find scoring. KD, because he's been coming off the bench, I think, had become kind of an afterthought when it came to finding a go-to scorer, but it seemed to work. And, he started the first 5 minutes of the second half on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He started 4 for 4 from three. Auburn was 50% for three. They shot 48% from the field. They have won a majority of the games that they shot 45% or better from the field. And they've just got to find a way to keep that going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it was a pleasant surprise last night to see, our favorite little psycho go nuts, from the field last night.
Yeah, now KD had a great first half. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch it live. I had to rewind. Oh, wow. The Thanos mug. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's that kind of morning. That's how I felt after the win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I felt like I had the Infinity Stones.
For sure.
Sure. Snapped Missouri out.
Yeah. Missouri had a tough time last night trying to find something. But KD, I think this is a thing that I've been saying, I think, for a couple of weeks now. KD Johnson has been steadily playing better and better and better. Like he got benched earlier this season. There was an issue going on. He got basically Bruce Pearl held him out for a game. And when he came back from that, he looks tentative. He looks like he just didn't really have the same he wasn't engaged in the game in the way that you normally see KD engaged in games. His offense, he just kind of looked very passive. He wasn't in attack mode. And then when he started to get into attack mode, he didn't seem as if he really knew what his place was going to be. So it was clear they had a conversation with him like, KD, you got to settle down, right? And he didn't know how to turn it off, but keep the intensity necessary for him to be a good player. But you started to slowly see the last couple of games, he started to get back into attack. I think something about playing Georgia, I think that turns him up for sure, right? Like he had that Georgia game where he was a little, I think, too turned up, and he had to dial it back down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's starting to find it. He's starting to become a better playmaker. The play for me last night, seeing him knock down open shots or even contested 3-point shots, very good thing. The play for me last night that encapsulated the kind of KD Johnson I want to see is when he got the steal and he went coast to coast, and instead of getting a charge at the end, he jump stops and hops to the side and gets the little floater layup over this. I was like, that's the guy right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That can be a player.
It was smooth. It was smooth.
It took everything, though. It was every bit of the things that you love about KD Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
The steal on defense, pushing it ahead, getting into the fast break, attacking the rim, but then the under control finish in the open floor. I was like, yeah, Yeah, this is a ball. That's KD Johnson, the ball player right there. That's not KD Johnson, the uh act legend, right? Like he's not out there at the student activity center hooping. This is KD Johnson, a basketball player right here.
Yeah.
And I love seeing that about him.
Listen, man, Auburn needs some dudes down the stretch. KD Johnson can be a dude at times, and they need him to be that dude if they're going to make a run over these last 5 games. Now, we talked about what they needed to do over these last 6 games. Missouri was important. Bruce Pearl said, I hate to call this a must win.
Yeah.
But we got to win it. He understood how important this game was. If you lose this game against one of the worst rebounding teams in the country, Ike. Yeah. So it was important for them to go out and dominate. In the post game, Bruce Pearl felt like they had an advantage at the 5, right? And so what I thought was good about KD was he was active in moving the ball, and because he was active in moving, it drew some guys out of the paint, and then allowed Janai to eat a little bit last night too. 8 of 13 from the field. He led all scorers with 20 points.
Yeah.
So, when those guys are moving the ball and they're doing their thing, it can be beautiful basketball. We saw some beautiful basketball last night.
Yeah.
Now I know we're talking KD, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about our guy, Trey Donaldson.
Man.
Air Jordan territory to dunk the ball last night. It was
I was on the phone last night with Mike, and if you guys don't know, I do I cut up the highlights for the basketball stuff that we post to the channel, and I was just kind of going through looking at some stuff, and I had already cut up the highlight of Trey Donaldson, but I was just going back through looking at it, and I stopped and I was talking to Mike. I was like, wait, I didn't realize how far back he took off from. Like, him dunking is impressive because he's not like some. He's not Alan. Like, Alan Flanagan looks impressive when he dunks, but Alan Flanagan is also 6'6", right? And so seeing him dunk from a distance, you kind of expect it now, right? So
Right.
Alan's got bunnies; he could do that sort of thing.
Well, when we were walking out to the presser last night, Bruce Pearl stops me and goes, "Did you see Trey's dunk? Did you see Trey's dunk at the end?" I was like, man. I saw it. So it was an impressive game. I thought everybody, again, the type of game they played, it felt like everybody had that swagger last night. Those guys were playing with confidence last night, Ike. And they were taking confident shots. They were hitting open shots. They were taking smart shots.
Yeah.
They were taking shots within the flow of the offense. I tweeted last night, Alan Flanagan looked smooth and under control last night. He had a shot similar to what KD had on a drive coming from the top side of the basket, where it was just kind of like a one hand, like, you know what I mean? Like a touch.
Yeah, it was
layup.
Finished through contact at the end. Yep.
Yeah, and it was just so under control. The body control was impressive. And I was like, why can't these guys do this all the time?
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
I mean, so clearly there's one major key for Auburn is playing teams that we have the size advantage on, because those teams are the ones that we basically go and beat up on for 40 minutes. But we've got to figure out how to be this team, to your point, more consistently. But you're not going to shoot 50% from 3 as an Auburn basketball team typically. But I think if you listen to Janai Broom in the post game, he talked about the strategy was just let it fly, man. We've got the advantage on the inside. Right. We'll go get the boards. You guys go shoot. Right. And they were like, all right, cool. But that confidence to say, all right, just go let it fly, man. We got you. We'll go get the board. I think it allows for your players to feel a little bit better when they're out there, not feeling hesitant to pull the trigger. Because another guy who was just kind of shooting it as if he didn't have a conscience at times. I mean, he didn't make a lot of them, but Zep Jasper, 2 of 5, he was letting it fly. Like 5 shots from Zep seems like a high number of attempts even, but like he was 2 of 3 from 3, but he was just ready to go out there and let it fly, man. And it's good to see Zep Jasper shoot the ball confidently. It came to him in rotation. He just, all right, man, I'm gonna put it up. And I like to see that from Zep.
Yeah, it was great. It was great seeing him shoot the ball confidently. These guys can play, man. We've been saying Auburn needs shooters, and maybe we need to be saying Auburn just needs to make shots.
Yeah,
that's it. Bottom line, they have shooters. They just need to make shots, and they're capable of that. 9 of 18, I think, from 3 last night.
Yep, 9 of 18.
9 of 18, 50%. That is I think that's around where they need to be. I don't want to see them taking 30 shots from three unless they're hitting 20 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
9 of 18 is a good 18 3-pointers in a game is a good amount of 3-pointers for this team to be able to take and make. You know, the one thing from last night, I'll say that I just like the 15 turnovers is just too much, right? Like you force 16, but you can't have 15 turnovers in the game. So that's the one thing I think that still needs to get cleaned up. But it's good that, to your point earlier, Wendell Green with 9 assists, 0 turnovers. For a guy who dominates the ball as much as he does, to have 9 assists with no turnovers is an amazing thing. I mean, gosh, the plus minus stat line from last night is absolutely ridiculous. The only person with a negative plus minus was Chandler Leopold, and that's the guy. I mean, Leopard, excuse me, or Leopard. I don't know if it's Leopard or Leopard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. Excuse me. I don't mean to be dismissive of your name, sir, but he's the only guy with a negative plus minus for the entire team last night. So great win, great team win overall, man. So definitely glad to see it. But for me, the reason why I think KD is such a key thing is if he gets his confidence where it's supposed to be, you have another guy who can go. The guy who used to close out for us early last year when we were like, oh, this team could be dangerous, and they started that 20-some game undefeated streak. It was KD Johnson. He was the guy at the end of games making big shots, taking big shots. He needs to get his confidence up, and this is the perfect time for him to start realizing that potential within himself and get more confident in his ability to play and make plays for other people as well. If he's going to play under control and he's going to be a confident shot taker and shot maker, dangerous team, because we talked about last time, closing out games is a big problem for this team. KD is the kind of closer that you can have on your squad.
Now we talked about closing out games, but we have probably not highlighted enough how many times Auburn has had double-digit leads early and let teams back in. Right. Last night, they did not do that. They shut the door. They got a double-digit lead early, and then they grew it to 20 and then 30 and then almost 40 at one point.
Right.
So I think putting the foot on the throat.
Yeah. Very important.
It's going to be something that this team needs. You know, when we talk about that, we talk about that killer instinct.
Yeah.
Can you put teams away? Listen, we beat you, but now we're going to stomp you.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to take away all doubt. And 5 minutes left in the game, we're going to put in the scrubs.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me back up. Let me not say scrubs. We're going to put in the guys who don't play so much.
Right.
Right. And then they're going to stomp you. Right. And you're going to feel it. And you're going to look back at the game and be like, damn, we got whooped.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it was a thorough thrashing of
it. Was thrashing. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Auburn needs to do. I mean, they've got the guys. So, some questions have been asked. I've seen on social media about like, hey, man, if this team misses the tourney, it's time to ask some hard questions. I think you don't have to wait for them to miss the tourney. You can ask the hard questions now.
Yeah.
They're asking them, right? And because they're asking them, they're solving them.
Yeah.
So now who do you got next? You got Vandy up next, Ike. And then you got Ole Miss at home. So on the road to Vandy in Nashville. And then you come home to play an Ole Miss team. Both those games need to be wins. And you got to get one of these last 3 down the stretch, preferably Alabama. You beat Alabama, you seal your tourney fate.
Yeah,
no question.
Question.
You
beat the team who right now is the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah,
then you're absolutely
in their house.
Yeah, that turns people's eyes a different direction. They're like, oh, wait a minute, this team is surging at the right time.
Right now, Coleman Coliseum is not that hard a place to go play. Let's be real. Yeah, it's not a daunting task for Auburn to go in there and get a win because the fans are they're mediocre, right?
Yeah, they'll be turned up for this.
They're fair weather. I mean, they're fair weather, but they'll be turned up for this game. But let's be real.
Let's be real about this as well. If somehow Alabama loses a game before Auburn gets there, it's going to take some wind out of their sails, so they'll be even less in that fair weather mode. So
exactly. So,
but it'd be nice. I actually hope that they don't lose any games before we go there and we can be the team that beats them while they're number 1.
I think Auburn has a shot to do it. Auburn has a shot to do it, to get the win. And, again, just win one of these. Tennessee, listen, one of the worst offensive performances they've had all year. Don't duplicate that, and you beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right? That's gettable. So, like, when I say win one of these last 3 games, Kentucky and Tennessee are gettable. Now,
For
they
sure.
were losable the way they were playing before.
Yeah.
They are absolutely winnable the way they played last night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the final score aside, because Missouri missed shots that they could have made. Like, they're a better 3-point shooting team than they shot last night. Last night they only shot 22.7% from three. They started heating up in the second half of the game, but they're a better shooting team than that. But the strategy again for Auburn in this game was run them off the three. Right. This is literally the exact same strategy that they had against Alabama, except it worked for them because they had the height advantage against Missouri. Right. Like, when they didn't have the height advantage, that doesn't work as well. But that is what I was getting to, is the team that played last night, as far as offensively, could beat anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
They could beat anybody.
100% agree.
Yeah, there's not a team in the country that team couldn't beat, because of one of the things you mentioned, how well they shared the ball. The ball movement was great. Number of assists for the team, 21 total assists on the game last night. That team could beat anybody in the country because they play well enough.
Just so we don't get carried away here, I just want to make sure that we state again, one of the worst rebounding teams in the country.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, the rebound disparity is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was 48 to 26.
I would gather to say that it was the difference in the game, because not only did Auburn hit shots from the field, but they got a lot of second chance points as well, too, because rebounding was so poor from Missouri's end. So
16 offensive rebounds for Auburn last night.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl noted it. He said they felt like they had an advantage down low. They took advantage of it, and it led to a blowout. Now, would you say it was 48 to 26?
I think 48, yes, to 26.
To 26. Like, that'll get you beat by most teams.
Yeah, but let's. My point is that, all right. So let's say it was closer. It's 35 to 32, right? The way they shot the ball and shared the ball, they're still in that game and doing really good things.
Okay.
So I just think that this team playing that well, as far as just their ability to share the ball, playing efficiently on offense, they could beat anybody playing that.
Okay,
well.
so it's a 15 to 20 point win is what you're saying, instead of maybe like a 30 point win. Okay, all right. Yeah,
sure.
I could buy that. I just want to make sure we're not getting too carried away.
Oh, no, I'm not saying, we're going to win the national championship now.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I'm not.
Yeah, like, that team was bad on the boards, and that will get most teams beat by like even the worst teams if you give up, 20 plus 22.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the boards.
Absolutely. You guys are watching the Morning Drop right here with you guys from the War Report. Make sure you're sharing the video using the hashtag Get Your Weight Up when you do it at the War Report. Like the video right now. We've been talking for 18 minutes, and if we don't have enough thumbs up, then that means we need to come reclaim you guys' thumbs or something. I don't know, but you guys need to get in here and do the due diligence and subscribe to the channel, man. You guys ghost watching all the time. Come subscribe to the channel. Even if you hate us, subscribe to us, hate us, and then just don't say anything to us in the comments, because I don't want to hear it. Anyway, rogueshop.com is the place where you can go. They are the sponsor of the Morning Drop. We appreciate Rogue Shop. Head to rogueshop.com. Last night, not a night where you needed any gummies, but maybe you wanted to kick back and relax after a wonderful game. Maybe you take. Are you the bath? Do you guys like to take bath? I'm not a bath taker. I don't do the bath thing. I don't really soak in the bath or anything like that. But they have bath salts at Rogue Shop if you are, we wanted to relax for a little bit, take a load off. Use code RAPPORT, and you get that percentage off. And we appreciate everybody who's continued to support the War Report and the sponsors of the War Report. We're going to get here into the comment section. I want to jump and just start here by saying, where am I? Oh, I need to go to my starred list here. Shouts out to Corey Weber, longtime supporter of the War Report, good friend of ours, dealing with some stuff right here. Prayers for his mom as she is dealing with her health issues. Definitely a challenging thing to see your parents go through tough times. So prayers for Corey and his family. We appreciate you continuing to rock with us, man, and hopefully everything goes well with you and your mother today. Yeah,
can't imagine what you're going through, brother. Like, somebody, both my parents are, up and kicking, and like, I can't imagine to see them in a state like that. So, praying for, peace and healing for her, definitely. And our thoughts are with you, bro. So, Corey, you got my number, man. Call me if you need me, bro.
For sure. All right. Leanne's gonna get us kicked off here and says, I think perhaps the real key is having Wynn dish it like he does. I saw my granddad after the game and he said Wynn had one less assist than the whole Missouri team.
Wait, what?
Wynn created shots. So let's look at this. Assists for Missouri.
Yeah.
Yes, Missouri had 10 assists on the game. Wendell had 9.
They played a terrible game.
Yeah.
Like, listen, so I mean, add that to the rebound stat.
Yeah.
I mean, was Auburn's defense was so tight that they couldn't even dish the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they shot 31% from the field as well, too. So, like, you can't get an assist if you can't make a shot. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Right. So
the big problem for Missouri, and this is essentially the big problem. Missouri's team this year reminds me a lot of Alabama's team last year, and they are live and die by the three. Like, they are very streaky. If we're hitting threes that night, then we're going to be formidable because they take a lot of just kind of pull up and shoot the ball through because they have a bunch of shooters. Right. The encouraging thing about last night, honestly, if you guys remember the Miami game, well, if you watch Auburn basketball, of course you remember the Miami game last year in the tournament. This is the kind of team Miami was last year with a bunch of guard-like players. They're going to play 4-out basketball, and they're just really going to put you in isolation situations and go shoot over the top. Now, they had a better shooting night against Missouri than they did against Miami, which is kind of what contributed to it. But this is the kind of team that gave Auburn trouble last year. Teams that had a bunch of guard types 1 through 5, and they were just going to ISO you to death, and they were going to shoot a bunch of jump shots. Auburn couldn't keep up. Auburn had a better game against that type of team this year. The teams that Auburn has struggled with this year, it's kind of the reverse, are the teams with a bunch of bigs. If you're big and you can dominate in the paint, Auburn struggles with you this year. Last year, we struggled with the fast up-tempo guard type teams. Now, we still struggle with some very kind of high volume shooting guards. But when you're 1 through 5 guards, now we're more physical inside, and we can take that away from you and muddy it up a little bit better. But it's interesting to see the dichotomy this year versus last year.
Facts.
Leanne said, good to finally meet you, Mike. Met Mike last night at the game, apparently.
I did meet Leanne last night. It was I keep meeting you guys every time I go to the game. I had an uncomfortable, like, this lady was with her boyfriend in the snack line, and she was staring at me, and I was like, lady, your boyfriend is right there. And then she comes up to me and she was like, my boyfriend's a big fan of the show. And I was like, oh, okay. So I shook his hand, but it was an interesting moment. But I love meeting you guys. If you see me at the game, please come up and say hi. I love meeting our listeners in real life. You guys are not always recognizable by your like YouTube little pictures or Twitter pictures. But if you tell me your YouTube name, I will know who you are.
Yep. The YouTube handle is a lot easier to recognize than pictures. Some of you don't even have real pictures, so that hurts as well. So Damian Smith jumps in. Morning, War Report family. The game last night looks like when you play your little brother or nephew in NBA 2K. Missouri was reminded that they were the little Tigers in the conference.
Yeah. Yeah. They were the little Tigers last night.
It felt good. I didn't say this before the game, but I'm not going to lie. It felt good to beat a Missouri team handily the way that you're supposed to in a sport, as opposed to what happened in the football game this fall.
Yeah, where they it was like they fumbled the game back to us.
Right.
Right. And that was embarrassing. It was the win that felt like a loss.
Yes. And this win felt like
a win. Right.
Yeah. This is what we expected to see on the football field last year when we faced Missouri. We're like, oh, we're gonna Missouri, whatever. We're gonna beat Missouri, and we literally we needed their help to win the game.
Yeah, I agree with this 100%. Now, listen, let's be clear. Missouri came into this game with a better record than Auburn.
Yes, playing better. They were on a winning streak. They have
a conference record.
record.
I think
just tied with the conference record.
Tied with the conference record. But hey, listen. This was a game that Auburn couldn't afford to take lightly.
This is a game a lot of people thought Auburn was going to lose. Let's keep this list now that we've won the game. Let's keep it tall. A lot of people thought we were going to lose this game. They did.
Yeah. For sure. The way that we're playing, the way they've been playing, I don't think that that's unfair.
It's not unfair.
I don't think that's unfair. Yeah.
I'm just saying that in retrospect, I'm not saying like you were wrong for thinking that. I'm just saying let's not pretend like this wasn't a good win for Auburn, because
it was a good win.
By no means did anybody walk into this game saying, "Oh yeah, Auburn's going to win." As a matter of fact, it was a lot of the reverse.
Facts. That's a fact.
So them beating them this badly was by virtue of Auburn playing a really good basketball game against a good basketball team.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, we were frauds, apparently, to a lot of people. You guys can't beat anybody. It's like, well, you beat Missouri pretty bad. So, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up. Leanne jumps back in and said,
fraud these.
if you add Zepp's 6 point, it was a great night at the 2 for sure.
Agreed, Leanne.
Yep, gotta agree with that. A spot on the floor where Auburn has needed productivity badly. Got a lot of it last night.
Yeah, for sure.
Steve Valentine jumps in and says he had his tongue out like Jordan too. Speaking of Trey Donaldson with his dunk.
He put his whole soul into that dunk.
Yeah. He was waiting for that moment. Let's be clear.
Listen,
Trey was like, man, just let me get one breakaway this year.
Right. Yeah. Out. Basketball players can go their whole career and never get a breakaway like that.
Yeah.
And he took advantage of the moment. And if he had missed it, his teammates would have never let him forget it.
Yeah.
Because they were going to win anyway. So, it wouldn't have cost him the game. But I'm telling you, his teammates would have given him a lot of crap if he had missed that dunk. He made it. So
I am very excited to see where Trey Donaldson goes in his future with Auburn, because he is a fierce, competitive defender. He's physical. He's tough-minded on offense. He's got good vision. If he turns into a semi-productive scorer and a better facilitator, I think he's a good facilitator. He's not. Wendell Green is just sneaky good at just about everything when it comes to basketball. Like literally the only thing that prohibits Wendell Green from being an elite, like when people talk about elite, is his height. If he was 2 inches taller, 2 inches, I'm not saying he's got to be 6'4". If Wendell Green was 2 inches taller, he'd be dominating every game, just because he's crafty with the ball in his hand. He can shoot the ball from distance, and he goes to the hole without any fear. He's a good facilitator, and he plays ferocious defense. If he was 2 inches taller, nobody could guard Wendell Green, right? Trey has the potential to get and be that kind of guy. He's got to work on his offensive stuff. He's not as crafty with the ball offensively, but I like Trey's game and his ability to control the pace of the game, the way he plays defense, the speed and tempo in which he approaches it. He knows how to vary his speed. I'm looking forward to seeing how Trey Donaldson develops over the next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, and he has fabulous hair. So
he does have a good head of hair.
So he was built for this, right? Yeah. He was built for the limelight.
Indeed. Ernest Vaughn jumps in. Could this little stretch start them heating up in time?
Yeah, we'll see after this next game.
Yeah, you've got essentially, like we just said, 3 games in a row, won the first of those 3, where hopefully you can build your confidence offensively. Hopefully you can get a streak of a couple of games, and then you go to Kentucky and you try to beat up on a team that is traditionally really good.
Well, let's to be clear, there's no such thing as a 2-game streak, right? A streak is 3 games. Right. 2 games could be a fluke, and we just need to see it over these next. That's why we've been saying beat Missouri, beat Vandy, beat Ole Miss, right? And then maybe people will start to believe a little bit. This is a beatable Kentucky team. That would be a hell of a streak with 4 games, and then compete with Bama, beat Tennessee. 5-1 down the stretch, man, is definitely possible. But if bad Auburn comes back,
right?
Something worse.
If we go and lay an egg,
2-4
Saturday,
is possible too. Yeah,
you go and lay an egg Saturday against Vanderbilt, and we're having a completely different conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So beat Vandy, and then we'll start to have a different conversation.
James Barnett jumps in, fellas. If this team shoots 50% from threes and plays defense the way we did last night, could they win out?
Yeah, sure. But listen, man, realistically, they're not going to maintain that they're not that team.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a team that shoots mid-30s from 3 and plays defense like they did last night can beat most teams.
High 30s.
35, I think would be good.
I think maybe 38.
Listen, I ain't mad at 38.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
If they shoot 38 from three, then they're pretty good. I mean, because you're bordering around 40% from three. And I say 38 because that's that one extra shot you need at the end of the game in a tight game, right? To close it out. So, and looking at the numbers, they've lost some games badly where they were in the mid 30s shooting three. So I want them in the high 30s to be safe.
Not mad at that at all. Haley jumps in and says, I thought we were going to lose the second the whistle started. I thought, here we go.
Okay, so I started this comment for a reason, right? Now, we've talked about Auburn having a stretch of poorly officiated games that have really crushed any momentum they've had. And we're not talking about Auburn trying to get back into games. We're talking about games that Auburn was leading, Ike, right? And the refs just started blowing up all the momentum. And the other team gets back in. Last night, the whistles were even. Missouri was 15 of 18 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
They shot 83%. Auburn was 16 of 20. We shot 2 more free throws than they did and only hit 1 more free throw than they did. It was an evenly called game. The whistles were even. And Auburn, if every game is called like this, Auburn is +3 wins on the season.
Agreed.
Right? Well, this is already a 20-win team, and we're not having this conversation about them not making the tournament. Yeah. Now, ultimately, you can't blame the refs. Bruce Pearl would not blame the refs for, why they are where they are. Ultimately, you have to play well enough so that this is not part of the conversation. But, we're fans and analysts, so we get to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, these refs need to get their act together. Call the games like this. I just felt like the refs, there was only like one call where the ball clearly went out on Missouri. And I was like, huh? Like, really? I can't believe they did that. It was right after Flanagan elbowed dude in the back for the dunk.
Yeah, that was pretty ferocious.
Yeah, everyone was like, oh, the dunk. I was like, yeah, that was a foul.
Yeah, it was definitely an offensive foul. I'm not even mad that that at anybody being like, that's a clear foul. It was, and he still.
Yeah, they balanced the universe though with the ball was off Missouri and they awarded it to Missouri. But again, if they're going to call the games like this, I think Auburn has a chance in every game. Yeah, a better than good chance in every game.
As long as it's like you said, as long as it's a fair distribution where you feel like the calls are going both ways. Like, okay, so they missed some calls for Missouri, they missed some calls for Auburn, they got some call. I don't recall seeing a foul call where I was like, that wasn't even a foul, right? Like there were some times where it was like that was a foul, they didn't call it. But there was very few times where it was like, yo, that's kind of a touch foul.
Correct.
Like, it just felt like they were saying, okay, guys, go play basketball. As long as you don't do anything too egregious, we're good. We're gonna swallow the whistle.
Now, if they're gonna call it like they did Texas A&M, I mean, whoever's on the receiving end of that bad officiating, you're gonna have a hard time beating anybody. Right. 39 free throws to 14. And again, we noted if the percentages hold, but the free throw disparity is even, Auburn beats Texas A&M by double digits. But they hit 31 free throws, Ike, because they shot 39. Yeah. And Auburn only got 14, and they just weren't calling the fouls evenly. It was not a great game. The SEC has to take a look at officiating. Now, you have to grade these officials harder. They cannot be allowed. I would even venture to say that, the same way the SEC office calls down in football to trigger a review, call down in basketball and say, what are you guys doing?
All right.
We're watching this on TV. You guys are calling an awful game. Get it together. Call this thing right, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, you remember that scene from Remember the Titans where dude walks up and he was like, my God, if you don't call this fairly, I'm going to see every one of you thrown in jail. Right? We need one of them moments from Sankey. Come down and throw these dudes in jail, man, or something. Make them call it right.
That I think SEC officiating, and I've said this before, it's really hard to ref. Like, regardless of the sport, it's very hard to be an official. But at some point in time, you got to like maybe even go into the halftime. Here's a question. What do officials do at halftime in these like very big, high profile on television? Like at halftime, do you guys go in like teams do and you go and you talk about what you could have done better in the first half. Like they should. If they're not, they should be out there saying, "Hey, man, hey, we kind of screwed up the whistles." Like we look at the whistle distribution and you look at some of the fouls you were calling. It's like, hey, we got to do better the second half. Do they do that as officials? You know what? That's what we need to see if we can get somebody from the SEC officials on for building rapport. I'm gonna see if we can do that.
Oh no, I don't know, man.
I'm gonna see if we can do that.
That would be dicey. That would be the interview of the century. Like, can you imagine having like an official? I mean, we might be able to get a former official.
Yeah, maybe a former official, maybe not a current official. Maybe.
Hey, don't let the officials talk.
Yeah, I don't think we can get a current one.
Like Bruce couldn't even get the official to talk after Tennessee. The guy was just like,
maybe
Bruce,
somebody from the SEC office, maybe from the SEC office that's over officiating or something.
You see, Bruce tried to talk to the official after the Tennessee game. He was trying to get an explanation. Like, I don't want to explain that, man. You lost. Sorry, buddy.
All right, game's over, coach. Where I got a flight to catch to the next game. So, all right. And then last one here, YouTube burner account says the crowd was more hype at a Berman 3 than the Trey slam right before. I wasn't there. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it was. Listen, this student section was nuts.
Yeah.
They were going crazy. Up 30. Every foul call, they were just going nuts on the refs. It was an amazing environment. Neville Arena is truly one of the greatest home court advantages in college basketball right now. I was blown away by it. But when anytime Berman hits a shot, and what's the other guy? He got in at the end. Oh, his name is
that's the guy whose name I was screwing up earlier. Chandler is his first name.
Chandler, yes.
Yeah.
Listen, the crowd wanted so bad for this kid to hit a 3.
He took a 3, and he missed it. But yeah. So.
Yeah. So it was crazy to watch. I mean, they were having fun. Everybody in the stadium was having fun. And it was great.
When you're beating a team by that much, it's a lot more fun to watch a game. I'm not going but see, like that's one of the beautiful things too about this team and this crowd is that like they're gonna go nuts, up 5 or up 30. They're just gonna really just have a good time in that arena. So it's always good to see the jungle come alive, man. But that's it, man. We're gonna get out of here. We appreciate you guys, everybody but I don't know what you're doing over there with your life, but we appreciate you guys dropping in with us. The morning drop, we are back at you guys tonight with the midweek report. We'll be talking a little bit more Auburn football.
I wish everybody a good day with R.
The comment made absolutely no. We literally have a morning show every freaking morning.
Where are you guys after losses? We're right here, buddy, at 10 o'clock Eastern.
The same place we've been every other day. We came on here and talked after the Texas A&M game. I just don't even understand the comment. So
and we're going to be here tonight.
So welcome to you since you're newly initiated into this whole situation apparently. But thanks
for watching, buddy.
Click the subscribe button while you're here. Anyway, we're out of here, man. You guys go hit up the Rogue Shop. RogueShop.com is your place. America's #1 online dispensary. Use code RAPPORT. And we will be back at you like I just said tonight for the midweek report. Until then, and as always, War Eagle will holla at you next time. Peace.